Hello, hello. Hey, you guys, how's it going?
My wife's scooting out, running out. She goes, "Are you gonna be on camera?" I said, "Yeah."
Hey, James, how's it going?
Good.
Hey, Eric, how's it going?
Hey, how are you doing, Ross?
Doing good. Thanks for joining.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So as we get more people joined in here, we're starting to do a little bit more gamification on the platform. So every time you join one of the office hours call, we're going to be dropping 500 extra message credits into your account. So if you'd like 500 extra message credits for free, just put in your email that you signed up for in the chat, and we'll get that added to your account.
Hey, Ross.
Yeah.
I have yet to sign up because I wanted to check the office hours are. Could you grandfather me in if I sign up?
Of course. Yeah, of course. No
Awesome,
worries.
awesome. I'll still put my name in there for you to be able to look for it when I do that. So
Yeah, cool. So as more people kind of start joining in here, we've been doing more Q&A on these calls to start, and then doing more updates at the end of them to give more people a chance to join. So if anybody has any questions that they'd like to kind of kick things off with, I'm happy to answer however I can help.
awesome. Bueller.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
all of us are probably old enough to know that.
Oh yeah.
know that.
I feel. Go ahead, Derek.
No. Go be my guest, right?
I feel like I might be one of the newest people here. I have yet to sign up too. I just need to get that extra little feel for what the heck's going on.
Yeah.
So right now, I've been using manychat, and I build chatbots for restaurants, local restaurants.
Uh-huh.
You know all the functionality of manychat. So I just want to know how we're going to get there and what's the plan.
In relation to how it's different than manychat, or how they work in tandem, or what are you kind of looking for?
Both.
Both? Yeah.
Do they
Okay.
work in tandem? I guess I would say I think that question I would have.
Yeah. So the way that I've personally implemented this into my system is manychat is still that first touch point that I'm using to automate DMs off of a keyword specifically, because I really want to make sure I control that first interaction with the user,
Right.
with no variability of whatever an AI might respond based off of their response. Now, we can obviously control that to provide a pretty accurate response, but I'm not looking for a conversation at that point in my funnel. So the response that I give back is just the message that I send back. Now that is fully functional. Like, you can do that within Stammer by adding a question and answer pair, and having that be the answer that it responds with. That works totally fine. But in my opinion, I still like having manychat on the front end. And then when people eventually get to a landing page where potentially there's a VSL or a call to action to get more information, that's then where I would sit the chatbot that we would typically, interact with on a website.
Right. So using both in conjunction, just start, they click on my ad on Facebook, they come into manychat chatbot, and then go to my landing page and then end up on my Stammer.
Exactly. And the way that we've kind of linked them together is the initial question that you add in Stammer is a follow-up question to what you've already discussed or what you've already set up in manychat. Right. So if you're providing additional value in manychat via, resources, that first question in the chatbot can be, what do you think, or what did you think about that resource that you just got? So it creates that consistency flow where it's not like, what's your name? Since theoretically they've already kind of got through that process from the beginning, theoretically.
Good. That helps out a lot.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Glad you could join us today.
Sweet. Yeah, I love the API. I got my chatbots using it. So
Awesome. Pretty easy to get figured out and sorted.
very,
Awesome.
especially when you do a high level, example in your video. It was like, okay, nice.
Yep. Yep. That was the one thing when I was first testing it myself, I was just like, oh, I just need to know where I need to paste the things into the right places. And then I was like, that's all people want to know is just screenshot that, put that there, and then. So I'm glad that was easy for you.
Yeah, that's good. The last time we spoke, maybe a week or two ago, I was like, I need to be able to control the prompt a bit better, right? And it's not like I can pass the prompt in with the API. Is that you haven't got that yet, right? It's more just pass a message to the bot, and the bot has the prompt in it.
Correct.
Okay, so we're one step towards where I want the flexibility to be able to control the prompt against the same embedding.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you got it after we talked about it last time. I went and checked the canny or the whatever you guys use, your roadmap, and I couldn't find it. So I entered something on the roadmap to try and get in the ability to split the prompt from the embedding, just so I don't have to build 10 embeddings for 10 various prompts for the same company on the same company data.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We got you.
Okay, was it already in there? Can I go somewhere and upvote it, or?
No, I believe that. I mean, when I saw that one come in, I believe that's the best way to describe it.
Okay. Now,
Cloning is also the other internal kind of idea that we're working off of, that one that you've submitted to.
Right. Okay. Sweet as.
Yeah. Also being able to move bots around as well. So if you're creating a bot in your agency, being able to move that into a sub account.
Oh, that'd be great. Because obviously you're building these prompts and you want to clone them, the front end at least, against multiple embeddings. Because I'm right now, and I'm building this extreme, make.com process right now to. I've basically got a business directory. Right, business directory's up. I'm just trying to figure out a short code for a WordPress thing, but where every customer in the directory, so I've got a single bot over the top of the whole directory, and it can look at all the individual business pages, and you can query like, what are the hours of this company, what are et cetera, right? But you can do that by a widget that's on the whole site, and it pops up, and you just ask it whatever question you want of the Chamber of Commerce or any business within the Chamber of Commerce. As an upsell, what I'm trying to do is put an embedded version. So when you get to the actual listing of the particular company, I'm trying to sell upsells to their directory listing to get their own embedding. Because at the moment, obviously, the embedding is of the overall Chamber of Commerce site with all of its directory listings. But the opportunity there, by the way, for everybody, the opportunity there is to approach every business within that directory and say, hey, I can put a little chat widget on your listing page, which is actually got an embedding, a knowledge base of your website, not of the Chamber of Commerce's website, but the massive amount of additional detail we can get from your website. But I can surface that in this little window on your listing, on your page, with a prompt or two asking for different things. Mm-hmm. And so what I've got to do, is have lots of embeddings and then just clone the front end prompt to be the style of how are we going to respond to somebody on a different branded directory, the language that's going to be used. Hey, I'm a Chamber of Commerce bot representing this other company. And so I'm trying to look for how do I clone that front end bot and have lots of different embeddings, or have one. Anyway, that's yeah. Okay. I'll send you personally a link to what I've got going at the moment. Okay. I have, to be honest, I'm still testing this. Everything I use with custom GPT or any other product, chat base or whatever else that I'm actually got in production, I am side by side testing with Stammer, but it's critical that I have citations. So the bots that I'm sending you, I'll send you a test where Stammer's being tested, but alongside custom GPT, because it gives me citations for every piece of feedback I'm getting.
Citations will be coming
ask the
soon.
bot a question and it goes, I found these business hours over here, you know.
Mhm. Yeah, citations will be coming soon. We have what we're calling feature parity is kind of this next push of development. And essentially it's all the competitors and all their features that are relatively the same across everybody that are lacking in ours is what is going to be added next.
Yeah. In the chamber meeting, I was like, who's heard of ChatGPT? Well, half of them hadn't. And I was like, oh no, this is I am in a small town-ish or a small city. And then someone goes, yeah, I've heard of it. It lies. I've heard it's inaccurate. We prefer to still use people. We're not going to use AI. And I just laughed and went, yeah, that was last month.
Yeah. I mean, we hear this all the time from businesses, and most agency owners come to us and they're like, how are you selling this? How are you pricing this? How like whatever. And it's because businesses don't understand what AI can provide, and they don't understand the value of what it is, the systems that can be set up. The agencies that have been the most successful that have told us, they don't even tell people it's an AI chatbot. It's a lead generation system. Yeah. And AI is like the tech piece that the business don't even really care about. It's just how it's implemented.
Just leads.
Yeah, we don't care. And when they can show that it's a simple login to see what they're doing and not a crazy make mess, then then they're interested in learning more about
really
it.
Good point, right? And I just want to sell it as leads as well. In fact, from the directory, whether someone's coming in from a clicked email, call, phone, fill out form, chatbot referral, any of those, I'm just calling leads, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's 4 avenues from the directory to the business that I'm got a dashboard kind of tracking. But one thing you just said was one thing I found obvious. When using the API to have a conversation, it doesn't turn up in the conversations log. You can't go and see any real-time, how you go to conversations, you can see anyone using the widget. Well, using the API, the conversation doesn't turn up. I went to go and track the conversation I was having through an API bot, but it didn't turn up in the conversation list. Thanks for reminding me. I was like, oh man, I really want to see, there's obviously a session. The session is held by the API, and yet that there's just I'm sure it's just an oversight of the API implementation from a conversational recording perspective.
Yep. Cool. I got that down.
I was going to say, I must meant to be in this meeting today, because I had this thought as my brain is just whelming with ideas, Jay, about the directory. And I was thinking, I was like, wow, I have the tools and the means to create a directory, and it's been on my list. And I was thinking, how do I integrate this into it to add that value for being an upsell, or from maybe a free directory listing to something that I could get them to pay for. And I was thinking about that with Lee. So that just, at least between you and I, that was a confirmation on that. I was like, shit, I wasn't thinking, damn, Jay stole my idea. I was thinking like, okay, I'm on to something, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I'm trying to take all my plates that I have and kind of see how I can combine them into one. So long soliloquy. Thank you, Jay, for that, man.
No worries. Yeah, I was lucky enough to have the local Chamber of Commerce allow me to present, but they, I came in and went, oh, you guys heard about AI and automation and GPT and everything? Everyone's like, no. And I was like, okay, let me blow you away, right? And there's a whole bunch of businesses there, and it was funny because when I did the intros, new businesses in town or whatever, and I said, well, I did, and the whole room murmured. No, they didn't murmur for anybody else. Oh, this other company introduced themselves and somebody else. And when I just gave my quick pitch, They were like, oh, AI. Wow. What I did do is I took on replacing their website and building them a directory. They had a directory, but it was just literally line items, real rough categories.
Mhm.
And so I've gone in with high level as the backing CRM, migrated all their communications in, and then a WordPress directory site, marrying those two together for forms. But the directory site is the opportunity. I did it for free. It's probably cost me, 3 to 5K of time that I would assume. I'm learning a lot from that perspective. But the deal that I struck with them is I'll give them a complete refresh and put AI and chatbots on their portal and automations. And like at the moment, people have to download the PDF to join the chamber, download the PDF, fill it out, and send it back with a check. Right? Or, we'll manually tell you what my PayPal is or whatever else it is. So I said, I'll take care of all of that and you let me sell to every business in town. And let me brand your website and every piece of so I've got 3 or 4 kind of offerings that I'm putting on the chamber portal that are good examples to all the businesses. So there's a couple of 100 businesses there that now have to fill out my forms, and I get to do a demo and show them the enhanced directory listings with a few extra bits and pieces, like the chatbots or whatever on them.
Awesome.
So I'm going to ask the question.
Yeah.
Y'all are up here with this level of stuff. I've been playing around with this. I'm an optometrist, and I'm just trying to figure out how to integrate this to my website. And I think I said to you how to take it, make it, box it, so I can resell it to other doctors.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's I'm listening. I'm
Okay.
fly on the wall.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So the high level kind of view of this is create one for yourself and set it up to drive people to either call your office, a booking link, or a form to capture their information, something that you can collect them as a quote unquote lead. When you create that, you can package that and position that as an offer to other doctors as we will get you more clients using this system. And that system can be installed on their website. It could be positioned behind their Instagram or their Facebook Messenger, depending on how they have their system set up. And it's all about directing people to a link or to a form or getting their information.
Yeah, they're not that advanced.
That's where you come in, James.
Yeah.
So what's to the extent of do they have any sort of online presence at all?
A website. See, my background's in engineering. I became a doctor, and I'm like, these guys are like clueless. So most doctors out there, they have a website, and it's basically a business card sitting out there. I look at these. My website sucks. Okay, I look at it going, there's calls to action, but it's not really a great website. So I'm like, I looked at this. We don't have a chatbot. Why don't we have a chatbot? I don't know, because I didn't talk to the IT guy, which is me.
Okay, I gotcha.
Because in about 5 minutes, I got to go become a doctor again. So
Gotcha.
I just don't have time for this. So I mean, I have time, but not giving enough time for it. So
okay. So I think what would be beneficial is we link up again and kind of go into this in further depth of how it might be applicable for not only you, but the rest of your industry. And we can kind of go in depth of how you could structure this, how you could think of how to position an offer to some of your other doctor friends or whatever it may be, however you're kind of thinking about this.
make it work.
Yeah. Because I think it's a larger conversation if the website is not done well, or if there's no other funnel outside of the chatbot's not going to work or do anything.
Yeah, it's kind of point. I have a question for you, James. If you don't mind me asking, is it you? Are you the mini hat person at your office, but you're looking to maybe do this as an offering to your cohorts as a service? Maybe add in that. If you don't mind, I'd like to speak with you about that, because I'd be maybe willing to do what James is doing what Jay is doing, because I have my background is marketing, so I'd love to work with you and you can be my case study.
There you go. Multiple offers.
And then I can help you on your end.
My goal is to retire in the next 2 years, right? To get out of the business and actually go, I used to program, so I haven't done that in 30 years, but so I have the technical background, but I don't want to sit and learn HTML and like Java and all that stuff again. So I just,
well, that's
anyway,
awesome.
that's
a great partnership in that. If it, I mean, as a
I had, let's do something and
sure.
Just see what happens. I don't care.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Yeah.
So my email's in the
yeah,
chat.
I think I have it. Yeah, let me.
And then Ross, I got a meeting with you next Thursday, I think at 12 o'clock or 11. If you want to still keep that appointment or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, perfect. I think it'll be beneficial to kind of just look over. I can point you in the right direction at least.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Cool.
I'll shut up now.
No, you're good.
I'm here
Rick,
to
you have a
listen.
question? You're muted.
Muted.
All right, sorry about that. I got a question. It's I think it's pretty easy, but how do you tell if a business does not have a chatbot? You just go on their website, and if it's not down in the little corner, that's
That's
99% of my industry, no.
Yeah.
your industry.
Optometry?
Okay. Yeah, you did say that.
mm-hmm.
So I'm just targeting residents, but I was listening to Jay, and I'm a member of a chamber of commerce, and I think about all the different businesses in there. A lot of businesses.
Yeah, I have.
It was just on the website. Yeah.
What'd you say, Jay?
I said I haven't niched down yet.
Oh.
I've only just recently lost my job, my day job, and so I've been kind of head down for about the last 6 to 8 weeks. Mm-hmm. Going, let's build a little SaaS/agency. And at first I was like, look, this guy down the road that does a job, a service level job, I'll try and sell it to him, or like a CRM, a high level CRM, etc. And then I realized that I should sell it to people that earn more than $500 per, or the total customer value is higher than say $500, right? Because the cost of acquisition, or the cost of the value of going through the process to acquire a customer is not as high as, I talked to a guy from an auto body shop, and he's like, the average car repair that I'm doing on auto body is $3,000 to $5,000. Okay, that's a much better sized customer than my lawnmower guy who's charging me $50.
Exactly. Yeah, because they're not going to see the value at all. No offense, but if the ticket item isn't of a certain dollar amount, whether they know what to do with that or long time customer value or whatever, it won't work, because they just don't. They ain't gonna see the value. The long guy's like, I don't need a damn website. I just go to the door handing out flyers or business cards or throwing. I don't know where you're located, but here where I'm at, they'll put a business card in a little baggie and put some rocks in it and throw it in your driveway. Well, guess what I do with those? As I pull it in my trash can, they go right in there, so they don't.
I'm so far out that there's no cell phone coverage, and the post office won't deliver to my house. So, but I do get some things in my letterbox, these cards, and they normally never have a web address on them. It's trees, and mainly the tree services or something, that suits the area. I live in a forest, but yeah. And so I started trying to talk to those guys, and it was a little bit harder than, so I guess I'm just saying I haven't actually figured out what niche to go after necessarily yet.
Okay.
The local service-based businesses, we're getting a lot of feedback from those guys, like the hairdressers, the salon, like the people that have no idea on how to do these online stuff. It's just like bringing the online stuff and the hype of the AI to get the foot in the door with these guys. And then the offer that we've started telling other people based off of the success of other agencies has been create the irresistible offer by saying you don't pay until you book your first meeting, client, appointment, whatever it may be.
Yep.
And if the website or whatever has traffic already, that's happened within hours of it being installed. So like the business is like, oh my God, I literally installed it an hour ago and now I have a lead.
Yeah.
So like, and then that's when the payment comes through, because then they send the payment like, oh, we know you just booked your first call. So that structure has started, and more people have started to tell me that.
Google Analytics or some kind of attribution tracking on to begin with. Like
yeah, well, they do it within GHL, so they're also setting up the GHL account and managing their entire system. So they have that visibility, but being able to see it happen like in real time, so to speak, is pretty interesting. I also am starting to see somebody mentioned in the beginning of the call, like gurus are getting into this now, like online, and starting to push this model to a lot of people who are not necessarily that smart, so to speak. And so a lot of the stuff I think that we're going to start to see is people trying to sell this in the wrong way. And I think that's why it's really important to focus on the things that we've kind of mentioned is, average order value per customer per visit. And that can deduce a lifetime value to assess the value of that lead against what you could potentially sell the chatbot for, or the system.
Yeah,
I have to remember to myself, like, stop referencing it as just a chatbot, because so
yeah, that was the concept behind my branding as well.
Yeah,
was systems. Ledio systems was where I came from. Build lots of systems, lock them into the systems.
Yes. Yeah. And then the one that I'm kind of working on the side for myself is through content creation specifically. So a lot of businesses need content creation. Well, if I can marry, hey, we'll edit your videos to make them go viral and generate leads for you using that content. Like, that's a system I could back my content up, because I just do that normally.
Well, so I saw on you, by the way, how do you find out about these office hours? Because I must have been lost. I had to go back to like my onboarding video to find where it said, here's the link to book the office hours. It was like a 2-month-old email or something like that. But where are you advertising or publishing these sessions? Because in July, a month ago, it was at 11 o'clock on the Tuesdays. And so I was just like, I couldn't find anything. I just stuck it in my diary for 11 o'clock and hoped that I'd find something. Oh, okay.
So you can click the support. It's right here.
Right. Thank you.
Yep.
That's good.
Yep. And then just these next few weeks, I'm doing a couple talks and conventions and things. So I've been traveling, so that's why I had to move the hours around.
And so when you've got 186,000 followers on, what is it, Instagram, or what did you get that from? Is that all the stuff in the background? Is it like e-commerce?
What do you mean? Like how I got those followers?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just making content for way too long. And then
out there.
Yeah, exactly. I made probably 200 videos before I had one go viral above like 1,000 views.
Oh, okay.
And then I started making content in end of 2020. The first video that really went viral got like 15 million views, and that pushed me from 1,000 followers to 120,000 in 4 days.
Wow.
Hey, I hit 100 subscribers on YouTube last week.
That's
So,
there you go.
14 years.
That's one of my big goals for this year, is get my YouTube up to, my goal is to get it to monetization. I want to start making some money from Google.
Yeah, well, my videos are crap, so.
Hey, well, keep posting them, right?
Yeah,
well,
something's gonna hit.
Well, you know, and this is where AI is going to kind of take over, right? I mean, HeyGen 2.0 is coming, and that is looking insane from a lifelike, look-alike, you know, in terms of put an avatar up there.
Yeah.
I'm of the
By
mind
the way,
put an avatar up and call it an avatar. Hey, here's my twin. He'll take over because I'm smart and I'm busy. So you listen to him. I'll be back at the end. Something like that anyway. I haven't quite figured it out. What are you thinking, Ross? So you were just talking about producing content. I assume there's some AI automation or something in the middle of all of that. Or are you looking more authentic?
I mean, one of my colleagues, Caleb AI, he's a few 100,000 as well. He's been really going heavy into faceless videos where it's just him showing something, and then he's using 11 labs to generate the AI voice to then add in as his script, and then he's using GPT to write scripts based off of viral videos from before. In my opinion, that's not going to be something sustainable long term. And
it'll be cut out by everybody to be able to do it, right?
Well, if it's that easy to make, the quality content and the completely crap content is going to look and sound the exact same.
Mm-hmm.
So in a few, not very long, it's going to be, when you see that, it's, I don't know the difference. It's immediately bad. And in my opinion, because I'm attaching myself to a company and a product, I need to make it be me always to create that trust. So I decided not to do a lot of AI content creation tactics.
Yeah,
I'm keeping it more manual,
real,
yes. And but that being said, we use like anything with editing, like AI editing, adding captions, like any tool that we under the sun that can help us make better quality videos we're using.
Yeah, it's definitely going to have to be authentic. I mean, at the end of the day, authentic will win out. I personally, professionally believe. It's like you said, you got these, these gurus who were doing NFTs or trying to do NFTs 6 months ago, or bandwagon, they jumped on, and all of a sudden the AI, which from my standpoint, AI has been around, we know, a long, long time. And when I'm talking to business owners, I tell them I come from a marketing background. I mean, that's what I got my undergrad in. I got my graduate in business, but undergrad in marketing. That's actually what I did in corporate America. So, and I did it before the internet. So internet is just the new thing, if you want to call it, but you still have to have the same marketing principles. So that helps me win out versus some guy, your next door neighbor's son, is like, oh yeah, I can do this and do that. And they have no idea about the principle, because it still comes down to the right copy, a call to action, follow. I mean, all these things still apply. So if you don't have those as a basis, pretty much whatever somebody's doing for you doesn't work. And then they are jaded, and it's like, oh, that doesn't work. But they're not realizing it's not them. It's just the person or the thing that they bought into is not. It's not.
It's just old.
Foundation. Yeah,
it's just old. Like people still think that the same strategies in Facebook ads in 2016 work today. Like the unlimited money hack does not work on Facebook anymore.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
But that's what everyone's still teaching. So it's like
the gurus.
Right. There you
the
go.
gurus, exactly.
I'm a guru.
I've always tried to stay like I've tried my best to really stay away from that term and like that stuff, and that's why I've tried. Like I've never sold a course. It's always been like, here's the value. Like I know what I'm saying is valuable. Like to set myself up as the authority, so that way, when you have that question about that thing, you come back to me, and then that's how the Gary V model, whatever, But yeah.
Just what we kind of a tangent to content, but obviously in the last 48 hours, we've seen OpenAI Enterprise, And so this is kind of, back to some of the original discussions I was having with you, obviously, around, well, we could already do that on Azure because that was the enterprise. All it really is, hey, we won't use your stuff for training. You can build your own fine tunings, i.e. load your own data up against inside the model or inside a model of some kind. And so if you had any thoughts about, either riding the wave marketing wise, repositioning or tweaking, kind of messaging with how they've come out with, the kind of value points or the selling points of OpenAI Enterprise?
Yeah. I mean, not yet. We're pretty focused on getting the current tasks done. But it's on the radar. So it's something that we'll look into more over the next couple of weeks for sure.
Well, we talk about, okay, so switching to tasks, there was only one task in progress. The team's pretty focused on that one task.
Yeah, well, there's 30 plus items in that one task. So there's, I think, six other cards that were merged into that one task, because they're all related to customization and dashboard customizations. So a lot of this, and this is what I kind of mean by feature parity. So a lot of, Chatbase, all these other guys have certain things like pre-position questions or citations or a pop-up message getting someone to click on the little widget. Like all those are going to be included in feature parity.
Roger.
Then we will also then be adding more functionality to the API. So the API right now is just is messaging and sending information back and forth. The list of endpoints that we have, which is the actual actions that we can perform, is quite extensive. I mean, everything from creating sub accounts and adding users automatically, because in the scenario that you are in a country that doesn't allow Stripe, how do you run billing? So certain things like that we'll start adding over time. Because we've added GPT-4, we now have the ability to do function calling, which is a really cool thing that is going to allow us to set up features to collect lead data within the conversation and then marry that to actual custom fields that could then be exported via the API to a CRM. That term, function calling, can also do other things like look for calendar availability on a calendar and then send that back to a user and then schedule an appointment all within a conversation without that user having to click a link or enter their info on a form or calendar, so to speak.
Awesome.
So that's all GPT-4 function calling, and that will come when we add the API ability to send data from the form.
I think I went to switch to GPT-4 and I saw that it took 25 tokens for the same.
It's expensive
for the one token that GPT 3.5 had, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll stay on 3.5.
Yep, it's 30 times more expensive for us.
Wow.
So but that's right now. Like they've systematically been reducing their costs for everything over the last, like, as they get bigger, their cost, like, systems of scale are seemingly going down. I don't know how that's physically possible, but they are. So what we think is going to happen is when the next model gets released, 4.5 or 5, whatever they're going to do, that will reduce the token cost of 4 to allow it to be the default model for, one response is 1 token.
Versus 1 cent.
Yeah. And that's the only reason we have that right now, is because we're literally getting charged 30x more. So,
man, it's not 30 times better.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not 30 times better. It is better. It is far better, but it's not 30 times better.
Right. Yeah. Not 30
like
times.
if there's a feature or a function that's kind of net new, sure, but conversationally, I've kind of deplored anyway. So
true. Yeah.
Yeah, we also want to add that, because I've personally been using Claude as my anything that's not data related, I'll use Claude as my way for text generation.
Yeah, content. Yeah.
Yeah. I find it's a little bit less robotic.
Yeah, I've been going through Open Router to get API access through somebody else's Claude API, because my Claude API request is still in the ether somewhere.
I see those things on Reddit all the time. Like, hey, does anybody want to buy my GPT-4 API access key? And I'm like, oh God, get out of here.
What's Claude?
Claude is another, so like Chat GPT.
Right.
Claude is another Chat GPT made by another company called Anthropic.
Yeah.
So it's another competitor. The CEO of Anthropic is like this super crazy wild Indian guy who's saying all the crazy things for the clips. And it worked extremely well because he got so much free press from everybody being like, look at this crazy guy saying all these crazy things. And and they were able to blow up.
Well, yeah, and actually the model does produce pretty good long written content and allows you to put massive, like, if you want to do a Facebook transcription, for example, and process that, you can't do that with, well, you couldn't do it with 8,000 tokens. You'd be lucky to do it with 32,000 on GPT-4 or whatever. But having 100,000 plus tokens, you can, process a long video on Anthropic Claude. You can't do it on ChatGPT.
Yeah. So and for everyone else, if you're not familiar with that, like what he's talking about is the context window. The context window being far superior and larger. Yeah.
I'm on the website now.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, is there a limit on the base prompt for Stammer?
Not technically, no.
Yeah.
But the longer it is, sometimes the less accurate it can be. So we actually just added one of the best prompts that I've ever used, and we actually just added it to the support documentation.
I was talking to what's your counterpart's name?
Tim, Drew, Hassan, probably Drew.
I was speaking to Drew yesterday, and he gave me the base prompt right before it was put on the platform. Yeah, I use that same exact thing, and I'm getting pretty outstanding results.
Awesome. Yeah. So the template I just sent to everybody is the quote unquote master template that I'm calling it. That should get you 80-90% of the way there. And then if you take it one step further, you can paste this whole thing into ChatGPT with using the Web Pilot plugin and entering in your website URL, and then it will create a custom base system prompt for your business based off of the information on your website.
Wow.
Say that again, please.
So here, I'll do a quick little demo.
Because I've been using things like that to build FAQs. I go out to website, but you've got to find a tool that allows web crawling.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the knowledge base thing. So what we're going to do is copy and paste this text. So we're going to take this whole thing down to here, paste, and then we're going to open up a new window. And then, so we're going to have plugins, and we need to make sure that the Web Pilot plugin is enabled.
Okay. Yeah, I wondered what happened since they lost Bing.
And then we're going to paste in the prompt. And so that's the big text. And then whatever website we want to make it for. So let's say we're going to make it for this junk hauling website, one of my partners.
Oh, there's two links in what you sent through. I only clicked on the first one. I was like, that doesn't do that.
Oh, yeah. So the second one
builds the prompt. Okay, yeah, got it.
Yeah, so then you paste in the URL there, and then Web Pilot will go and look at that website.
Yep.
Find information, and then it will write a version of the base system prompt that uses all that information.
That's awesome.
And when you actually finish it, yeah, you are Fisher. Yeah, so it's perfect. It knows exactly where they are, what they do.
Well, that's really helpful for that scale that I'm talking about, right? Where I just want to be able to build these prompts for all of these different companies here on the Chamber of Commerce.
Yep, and it's because it has just placeholders in this base in the master prompt. So you can then you can essentially take and copy and paste this whole thing, and then when you go in to make a bot, you would paste that directly into this right here, into the base system. You are Fisher bot.
That is great.
And then obviously just make sure that the actual links and things are right. But that prompt right there elicits fantastic responses, especially when it's paired with GPT-4.
Right. I'll give that a go as well.
So yeah.
And I noticed it does it give out what is its overall goal? Like what's its objective there? Is it to send someone contact details, or because I didn't see a URL like an appointment booker or anything like that, trying to get somebody to click on a link? Is it orientated towards that? Later, James.
See you, James.
Thanks. Appreciate all the information. I'll talk to y'all later. Thank you.
Okay.
Sounds good. See ya. Yeah. So that is the general prompt. So that is essentially what we're replacing with what we've put there since the very beginning, those 2 sentences or whatever, right? That doesn't really do anything. That's what that replaces. That's it. So in that scenario where we're creating one for the hauling company, that is one of the ones that we've done where it generates a quote. So specifically what we'll do with that, what we've done in the past with that one is, what are you trying to haul? Concrete, mattresses, dirt, whatever it may be. What's the amount of that? So square footage, yardage, poundage, whatever it may be. And then what's the time frame? Tomorrow, next week, next month. And then it uses all of that information to then say, here's a ballpark quote. And that's really the key piece of this, ballpark quote, because the AI might be off slightly. But the idea is because it's a ballpark quote, to then get people on the call, they can then reference that ballpark quote and be like, okay, that was actually more, it's actually going to be less. And then the customer is super happy.
Nice. Saving that.
Or just in the chatbot, just saying this is an estimate, particularly if it's just through the bot. You can't give an accurate, because what somebody explains that it is may not be actually what they need. So you can kind of have some
exactly
in there.
Yeah.
We have to see it. We have to come out. We have to do these things. So I think that will give some cushion in there.
Exactly.
It said it was $5,500. Well, you didn't tell us. Yeah.
Where it can actually be more accurate is when it's related to real static numbers, not a condition or something that's variable. We've seen a lot of success with e-commerce brands using that to direct people towards a purchase link based off of a quantity. So the example I've given in the past is, we have a client that runs an aquarium business. And so people have to ask, like, how much of the cleaner product do I need to buy if I have a 165-gallon tank? And because they've trained the AI chatbot to know that for every gallon you need 6.5 ounces, or whatever it is, it's like, oh, the AI, it can immediately make that one simple calculation to be like, oh, you need to order 5 bottles. And when that business, that was 80% of their customer support volume was asking, how much do I need? We saved them thousands of dollars a month,
Right.
almost
From
instantly.
that one question, right?
Yeah, exactly.
To get on the phone with a human to get around to just that, answer that one question.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they even said their email support tickets went down too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I mean, it was kind of a win-win.
Mm-hmm.
The businesses that are seeing that immediate spend reduction are the ones that are the most sticky, the easiest to sell it to, because they're already paying for like a Gorgias or a Talk2 or like some other VA user seat per, payment per user seat VA situation that is probably costing them a few thousand more than they realize. And when you can be like, oh yeah, we'll cut that by 80% instantly, like, okay. And you don't pay until you see it, like, trying to just structure that irresistible offers as best as you can.
What is this? Sorry, guys. I'm trying to multitask here.
Okay. Can I ask a very hypothetical question? And don't get me wrong, Ross. I love you. I love the product. I just need that extra oomph. So what makes you different? What makes Stammer different from every other thing out there?
So, I mean, ease of use, simplicity is going to be the answer long run. Every other platform that you try or will try will be not as easy to use or learn.
Yeah, the learning curve, I would imagine. That's what I was learning curve. I don't mind the learning curve, but yeah.
The other thing I've noticed in general is most other platforms are created by indie developers. So it's like one guy, maybe two guys that are just developers. I have developed, like, I'm a businessman. I hired developers to help me do this process. So I can run the business. Like, I'm a technical business owner, but I'm not I'm not a true developer. So I can do front end UX, UI and stuff, but like when it comes to actually hard coding the enterprise level, multi-level payment structures with Stripe, and it being white labeled, no shot. So
you're the idea guy.
I'm the idea, exactly. I'm the product manager and the one who came up with this whole thing. And I'm the one telling, okay, that button needs to go there. And this needs to flow in this way because this is how an agency is going to look at it and interact with it. But beyond that, I'm letting them do what they're good at. Sure. So my goal is to be able to scale this to be what is my essential personal cash register for the next 5-10 years. I'm not looking to sell this and just leave everybody.
Yeah, you couldn't scale it without that. If it was just all you couldn't. I learned that a long time ago. You cannot or should not do that. I learned that by by some bumps and some fails. If you really plan on running a business, you gotta have your product person, your operations person, again, and you got to have somebody that loves and enjoys implementing. Because if you don't, you're your own worst employee because you're trying to be every employee, and you at a point you have to spend the money if you're looking for the growth. It's not saving you money to do everything. It's actually costing you money to do everything at a certain point.
Yep.
It's a drop off. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm saving money by doing this. No, you're not. I promise you, you ain't even paying yourself enough, or maybe you're paying yourself too much, and you could probably have somebody do it cheaper.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, and my wall of past businesses and failures and everything is a testament to exactly that. And that's why I have it there. It's like, stay focused. Know what you're good at. Hire for what other people are good at. Scale this thing appropriately. Don't take on bad debt.
I can't think of I can't think of the first guy's name, but the second author, it's 2-author book, is Dan Sullivan, but they got the book Who Not How. So you might know the how, but it's really hiring for the who. Mm-hmm. So if you go on like Audible or just look for Who Not How. And I think Dan's out of Canada, but his co-author is let's say he's a PhD. I'm almost positive he's a PhD, but yeah, and it talks exactly about that and other aspect. You shouldn't be at a point, you shouldn't be worried about the how. You hire the who, company culture, whatever case may be, but let somebody who's excited about the how and they're the who, you can go and do other things. But yeah, don't worry about the how, give it to the who, the right who or who's. Yeah.
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 Exactly. Cool. Any other topics? Anything you guys want to chat about?
No, I did ask a question. You did mention about GHL. So GHL has their own thing, but this Stammer is not part of that. We just can connect them together, I guess is what it said. Okay, I just wanted to.
Yeah.
I thought that, but I was like, I'm almost positive that's what Ross said. They're not rebranding GHL. It's their own product, and you can marry it with that.
Exactly. So this is what it would look like inside a GHL workflow. So the trigger would be a customer replies on any one of those channels that you can access.
Okay.
Then you're going to send that query or send that user message to Stammer.ai. And so like this is the white label API link that you would find when you go into your API right here. So this link right here, this would show your domain. Or if you're logged into the Stammer, it'll show the Stammer domain. And so you essentially just add in your information, you add in your API key, which you find right here, copy to clipboard. And then you find your chatbot ID by going to your chatbot, and that's right here. So you're basically copying and pasting in 1, 2, 3 things. And then once you paste in those 3 things, you can have the message be sent from Facebook to Stammer. It then receives the response right here and then sends that response back to the user.
Okay.
And so the benefit of doing it this way versus doing it via the GHL way is you have obviously the dashboard login side of things, but you can also have a little bit more fine-tuning control over the knowledge base side of how you structure the information that you add, because it's a little bit easier to do it on our end than theirs. And I'm sure they're going to update that and make it better, but for right now, we got them on that. So
yeah.
So I noticed something that as the output comes on your screen, it's a little bit slower than other chatbots. That done on purpose?
We definitely need to increase the default speed on that, and we are making the slider. I know somebody mentioned that in the past.
Okay.
But to increase the speed of it, so if you view this section, you can click this modify chat interface button, and that will give you the option to change the typing speed. So on default, it's this default, which is relatively slow.
Right.
But
I don't want it to be, is that active now or no?
yeah, this is active right now. Yeah, you can,
okay, cool.
check this out.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's not too bad for a speed.
No, I actually like it because you can actually read it. You know, and some things when the chatbot is responding 3 things and it's up off your phone, you're like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You throw back up, you're like, okay, what did it say? Yeah.
Like that was like our first conversation, Rick, and on Instagram when manychat kept saying back those messages every response that I sent.
Oh my God, yeah.
That was funny.
So what he's saying is I had a different chatbot on my Facebook page, and it was just interfering with us, just normal communication.
Yeah, so when we were trying to DM back and forth, it was
interrupting.
It was interrupting, yeah.
That is funny.
And where's that at? That's in.
So if you go into, if you just click into one of the little eyeballs, view details, and then modified chat interface.
Okay. I went too far.
And then similarly, I thought I'd just mention this real quick. So the exact same way that you set up the GHL, where you're just copying and pasting in the three different things, that's also how you set it up with Zapier. So you can connect it to anything through a Zapier account, Discord, Slack, any other channels. You're just copying and pasting in the same things into the same fields.
Okay, can you say that one more time?
Yeah. So, and there's screenshots and examples of both of these, both Zapier and GHL, in the knowledge base. So you can actually, look at it longer, but the same information that you're adding in. So the same way that we're adding in a header, with the key value being the word authorization, and the value of it being the word token space your API key.
Gotcha.
That is the exact same way it's set up here. The word authorization, token, space, your API key. So we tried to make it as simple as possible. And eventually I'm working on it right now. We'll have our own Zapier Zap that you can just search Stammer, and then all you have to do is paste in your API key, and then all your chatbots will show up in a little drop down, and you can just select the chatbot that you want to use, saving 2 pastes. But having a custom Zapier app is having a custom Zapier app. So
I was dumb enough to start looking through on Zapier for and I was like, they're not there yet.
Not yet.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, and I use make.com, and in the last couple of days I've been learning more about APIs than I'd like to, because some of the stuff that I'm trying to do, there's just no actual branded modules on there. And so I'm like, oh, okay, how do I start talking directly to the API to do some of this stuff? And yeah, and over my head.
Yeah, many Make is interesting with that, because their webhook functionality doesn't default to return the value. So you have to set that up.
Right.
And that's where it's confusing. Like Zapier, GHL, they make it super easy, where the response is collected in that same step.
Yeah, what I was doing was, for this directory, I needed to create, I've got all these tags, right, which I imported from their previous directory or catalog or whatever. And I want to put thumbnail images. And so I'm like, okay, how am I going to generate like 100 thumbnail images for all these categories or all these tags? And so that's where I started getting a little bit inventive about trying to hit an API. So I was writing against the Stable Diffusion API. Well, I first of all tried, what was the first one I tried? Oh, here we go.
You guys,
OpenAI DALL-E.
I got to jump off real quick. I got a 2 o'clock that I'm 3 minutes late for. But Ross, are you sending the kind of replay back out for us, or just recording for us that we're on here? Or
yeah. I've been uploading these all on YouTube, so it'll be up on YouTube in a few days.
Okay. All right. Thanks, guys. All right. Much success to you.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye now.
Yeah, so I posted this tag, which is like art and history or something, for the category of a place inside the city. And so I send that out to OpenAI DALL-E, and kind of comes back, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of average. I'll go to Stable Diffusion. Everything that I sent to Stable Diffusion came back massive chested, no clothes on, like nipples showing. I was just like, hold on. Side by side, I couldn't even show you, but I've got.
Wait, what side is
that? Just went to the Stable Diffusion API, sent in the same category, exactly the same, basically, that I'm not going to show. Not going to show the images, but like here's what I built. Right, got a Google sheet with all of the categories, so all of the entries in it. Sent that off to generate an image, get the file, convert it from PNG to JPEG, dump it back in a Google Drive. Right, this one here generated, like I said, some average kind of images for the categories. And I was like, oh, that's no good. It's got to find something better than that. And then went and did a Stable Diffusion one and sent this exact same category over to Stable Diffusion and just got back porn.
That's
And
wild.
I jumped on the forum straight away. I mean, what's going on? Like, well, how did this happen? You know, like
Yeah.
how am I getting back this basically this porn here? And they were like, yeah, it'll do that.
Wow. I didn't know it could do that. I thought they had restricted it from doing that.
Well, there is a not safe for work tag in there that I didn't think was needed. I thought by default the tag would be on, and that. So this, I mean, I still kind of had to just really do a lot of work on the prompts basically to get it to be overly descriptive and provide big, long, kind of descriptions, but ended up, doing into Stable Diffusion, pulling a few kind of what ifs out, and then doing the save once it was all generated. But yeah, it was terrible what was
wow.
what was being come back from the API. But yeah, both of them. Well, obviously the OpenAI one was, I was like, great, this is how I choose my tools. Is there, and I don't use Zapier that much or at all really. I was like, is there, a module already existing? This is back to the thing where you've got to have the branded module. Because otherwise you're into doing API calls with a generic kind of HTTP module or something like that. And I used DALL-E, and then there really wasn't any, and I did this big search for other image APIs that had modules already in Zapier or Make or Pabbly or whatever, and I really didn't find very many at all. And obviously there's a lot of these new sites like Leonardo, and there's even that one that can do text now, Imagen or something like that, like a model as kind of a derivative of Stable Diffusion that now actually gets the words right. So you can kind of get, you can say, hey, and it has a poster with this written on it, and it'll come back with the 20% of the time, it'll come back with the correct writing, which is better than 0% of the time.
Yeah, right. That's cool.
Anyway, that's what I do at 3 a.m.
Love it.
Thanks for your time. Good work on the API release.
Thank you.
I'm enjoying that for things that, like I said, don't need citations, and I'll just keep everything that I'm doing and building. I'm just kind of waiting for that moment where I just switch it all over. Ultimately, I need, and this comes back, Rick, to one of the questions. No one else does white labeling. I loved publishing my white label API, by the way. I actually went and changed where I was hosting my chatbots to something a little more API-ish in terms of my URL. I was like, actually, I think the API is bigger from a white labeling perspective than what the bot is, given the way that I want to use the bot via an API anyway, in most senses. So I went back and changed my white label name so that my API string looked a little more generic, rather than saying chatbot, because I'm going to use it for so much more than chatbots. As you know, it's like, oh, business case or whatever, customer service, something with it, and it's not pure chatbot, right? I want to be able to generate documents and other things against the embedding. So I kind of removed the word chatbot off and went back to something else.
Nice.
Every training I've been through, they said do not use the word chatbot, because first of all, it's got a negative public connotation.
Yep. And
people are thinking chatbots are evil. But yeah, I like your lead generation system.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a last thing I'll leave you guys with today. I'm getting I filmed the big YouTube update tutorial. It's gonna be like an hour long or so, but it goes over the whole process of like how to do this thing. And the first thing I tell people is like, oh, so you want to start selling AI chatbots? Don't sell AI chatbots.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad that was one of the benefits of you releasing that, was me having that little epiphany as well. I was like, actually.
Love it.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay,
Good time today.
Good talking to you.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.